Welcome back to the One Trail at a Time podcast. I am your host, Boogie. Today, I want to talk to you about two new things that I have integrated into my backpacking and bike packing setup. One is like one of these universal things. Well, both of them are kind of universal and maybe controversial all at the same time. I feel like everything that I talk about is always going to be controversial. But here goes. The first thing that I want to talk about, maybe it's a creature comfort, maybe it's a necessity, depending on who you are, but it's all about a camp chair. So I've been thinking about making this leap for a little while, and I finally decided to pull the trigger and jump uh, a REI REI Flexlite Air chair. Well, I'm saying it all like it's one thing. Well, it is, but it doesn't roll off like that. It's the REI Co-op Flexlite Air, and it is a chair. So they have two flex lights. You have the regular flex light and the flex light air. The flex light weighs about a pound and a half. The flex light air weighs less than a pound without the stuff sack. Okay, so the seat poles and the seat material comes out to be about it was about 15 point something, but it was less than 16 ounces. So it never made it to that pound marker. And just to go over a couple of specs about this thing. So when it supports up to 250 pounds. When it is folded up, it is 5 inches by 16 inches, so it packs down pretty small as well. It can fit in your backpack, or you can attach it to the bottom or somewhere around your pack. It weighs a pound. It shouldn't throw you off that much. I mean, it is really really light. You barely notice it compared to a lot of the other things that you pick up. I digress. I'm moving on. When it is fully extended and set up in its seat configuration, it is 19 by 22 by 22. So, you know, from from ground to the top of the back, it sits 22 inches high, or I think that's the width. I'm sorry. It's 22 inches wide, 19 inches high at its full configuration. Okay, it's ripstop nylon. It is the poles are aluminum, and I have it in mint. It so I know a lot of guys out there, a lot of you out there, you guys and girls, kind of like getting these, darker color or something that's not too stand outish when it comes down to your gear. So when it comes down to my bedding and stuff like chairs and stuff, I tend to like it a little brighter, and it's something that I'm not going to say I'm paranoid about it, but I definitely am leery about it, and that is ticks. I want to see ticks moving, so I tend to get stuff that ticks don't blend into really well. And the mint seems to do that. Not that I've had a tick encounter as of yet, but the mint will separate that color versus it being black. Um, I've been using it for a little while now, and I'm 6'3", and I'm over 200 pounds. I'm about 224 pounds or so. Could I stand to lose a few? Yeah, but I like where I'm at. It's my fighting weight, so be it. It does sit pretty low to the ground for someone my size and the knees that I have. So you kind of have to roll out of it a little bit. It's an awkward roll, but not an uncomfortable roll. So, when I say roll, you just got to put your hand. I have to put my hand on the ground to get up. There's no, arm rest on it, so I have to lean over to the side and put my hand down and stand up from there. But I've sat in it for hours, literally. So I mean, it's comfortable enough to eat in. The leg tends to sit up a little high now. There was someone who did a review on it a little while ago, and they pointed out the fact that compared to another brand tent on the market, when it comes to like the back of your leg, um, your um, your back of your upper leg, it tends to the material sits up a little higher, and you can't really stick your legs out in front of you for a long period of time. And I did notice that is a thing, but also I felt when my legs were down like that, it may be the cut of the material, but it did seem like I was tilting forward a little bit, and it did get a little scary. It's the chair is designed for you to kind of sit in it centered, so it can distribute the weight properly. So other than that, I mean, it's golden. I have no issues with it. It's light. It packs down. It gets you right up to the campfire. And also, another reason why I picked this chair up is because I'm afraid of wearing down my straps from my hammock. So usually I made the argument for why I didn't need it for so many years, because I was like, I can just get, I can just sit in my hammock, and that's it. I can sit in my hammock, kind of swing a little bit. I'm off the ground. I can eat in it. I can do whatever, right? Well, so that's putting a little extra wear on my straps. So that's not a good thing. I noticed the wear around my Dutch clips. That's so I use cinch buckles. I got it from Dutch Wear, and it I can see where it's rubbing from just sitting. Well, just the use of it and me sitting in it on a for no other reason, just to kind of lounge in it, sort of thing. That's putting a little extra wear that I really didn't need to put on it. Therefore, I'm moving on and I'm doing something different with that. And the chair was the happy medium, and for £1, it's not so bad. In the last episode, we talked about how if I switch to a tent, I can really save some weight. Now, of course, one of the other things that I am doing more nowadays is actually using my bike. So I'm doing more bike packing. So that also helps justify a little bit of extra weight that I'm carrying. Other than that, it's a great product. Once again, that is the REI Co-op Flexlite, and regardless of what a lot of people will say, it is the lightest camping chair on the market. The second thing that I have done this season, and this one really is, well, I guess the way I'm going to put it on a platter and serve it up will make it more controversial than what I'm actually doing. I guess it's just, and I'm not taking shots at anyone. I'm taking shots at companies that do it. And what they do is, I'm talking about dehydrated meals. Recently, well, more than it's not recent anymore, I bought a dehydrator and I started dehydrating my own meals. And let me tell you, my experiences out in the backcountry have been far more enjoyable when it comes to dinner time. I I know exactly what my recipes are. I know now I, they're great to me. So I don't, I know what I'm getting. I know it's not going to be too salty. I know it's not going to be too spicy. Uh, I know that what I'm eating, the recipe hasn't changed. Well, I guess the recipe does change because I don't add all of the same spices in it or the same amount of spices in it every time. So it does change a little bit, but it's still my own doing. Therefore, it to me, it's more pleasurable upon the palate. So, and it's a lot cheaper because when you cook something at home, say using for example, couple examples, chili. You make some chili at home. You take I have a container that I can fill up, and I know it makes 3 portions of food. I had for my Optimus Weekender. That's my cook set for right now, and I don't know why I haven't changed it out yet because it's not titanium in it. I can save a lot of weight if I switch to titanium, but this cook set has been with me from the beginning, and it's one of those things where being that I'm not doing a through hike, the extra weight doesn't really bother me for the 3 days that I'm out in the backcountry at this time. I am looking to. I did so for my summer kit. I did upgrade to a Toaks titanium pot, but it makes small dishes. But it's for the summertime, so I eat differently in the summer. But let's get to the other seasons. So making like pasta dishes. I know what the portions are with it, and I know in this little container, as long as this container doesn't, break on me, it's like the perfect formula right now. I know when I fill this bowl up, it's gonna make 3 meals. When paired with my Optimus Weekender, you know, I know it's gonna make those 3 meals. What's it like 95 meal? I think that's how big that cook set is. So when I fill that all the way up with whatever I'm eating, and it's like the perfect portion. That's the beauty of it. I can make the perfect portion for what I need. It's like when I have like a Mountain House meal. If I get the single person one, it's like at sometimes that could be too little. If I get the two that feeds 2 people, sometimes that can be a bit much. So with this particular one, and it's like it gives me the perfect portion, and I tend to want to eat more because it's my own cooking. Um, I don't know why. I don't know. I guess I do know. It's nothing like homemade. It's nothing like your homemade dishes. So I have perfected dehydrating chili, uh, spaghetti, well, in muscatoli. I have made uh, dehydrated my fruits and vegetables for my oatmeals. I make my own jerky, and it's like the list goes on and on. And for what it just adding in the cost factor, okay? For what I pay for if I bought like a bag of jerky, I can purchase that much steak, that same dollar for dollar amount in steak and whatever seasoning that I'm using, okay? And I can end up with double the weight at the end of the day uh, when I dehydrate it. So the cost factor pays for itself. jerky wise. Okay. And it's, again, to me, it's homemade. It tastes a little bit better to me, and it doesn't have all those extra preservatives and all the other stuff in it. When I'm doing my pasta dishes, it's well portioned. It's great. When I have my oatmeal, I don't use the instant stuff anymore. Although oatmeal really doesn't take that long to cook to begin with, but I dehydrate my apples, my peaches, my strawberries, and before I go out, what I like to do, I take a Ziploc bag, I take a cup of oatmeal, I take the cup of oatmeal, I put my brown sugar in it, put my cinnamon in it, and I add a healthy portion of apples in it. And, I'm depending on how many days and if I want to have a couple of those for breakfast. Usually, if I'm out for 3 days, I'll have oatmeal is like the quickest thing. So I tend to take some oatmeal to guarantee that I'm going to eat something. Sometimes, when I was dealing with the Mountain House meals, I would eat half or as much as I could of the Mountain House meal, wrap it up, put it in my bear bag or my sack that I'm hanging up for the night, and in the morning when I bring it down, I would have that for breakfast. Okay, so that worked. That worked well. And then for the other times, I would have oatmeal. Oatmeal is like one of those great snacks that really help you out in like the summertime or like when it's like getting around late in the winter. Not winter. Cooler nights. That's where I'm getting at. Cooler nights. I wake up with a chill or something. I'm sure a lot of people have woken up with a chill and you just need to eat something really quick, or you're just cold, you can't figure it out. Hey, here's a tip. If you get cold in the middle of the night, eat something warm. Drink something warm. Don't drink any coffee. Don't drink any tea. Don't drink anything really sugary if you can avoid it. Don't drink anything with caffeine because you do want to go back to sleep. So what I have done several times over, I will eat some oatmeal in the middle of the night, and I will literally just drink some warm water. That combination has saved my butt on many's of an occasion. It works. It gives you just enough fuel in the tank to warm you up for those last few hours that you need to get. So I tend to pack a lot of oatmeal because it's quick and it does the job. And warm water, plain warm water, does not always taste great, but water is always good, so don't overlook that fact. But that's usually my secret to surviving that's my trick for surviving the cold, or when I get cold, get those little chills. But those are the two things that have really started shaping my new backpacking adventures. So in bikepacking adventures, and I really urge you all to kind of get out and attempt to be more self-sufficient when it comes down to your food. And I know I may be preaching to the choir to a few of you out there, but it may be a few people that just needed to hear that to get them over the hump of getting a dehydrator, or if they can afford it, getting a freeze drying machine so that they can make their own freeze dry meals. Either way, it's just one thing that we all kind of got into camping for was to enjoy nature and be more self-sufficient. So this is just the next evolution. At least it is for me, and hopefully it'll be for you as well. That's going to do it for this episode of One Trail at a Time. And I want you guys to just remember, be good to one another. I'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget, live life one trail at a time.